بكم في قطر لأول يوم من بطولة كأس الفردي من دوري الألعاب العالمية الشاطئية لاتحاد اللجان الأولمبياد الوطني قطر 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Qatar Beach for the first day of Kata individual competition at the ANOC World Beach Games Qatar 2019. سيدات والسادة، نرحب بالرياضيين من الدورة الأولى للسيدات مجموعة الأول فردي. Please welcome the athletes for the first round, Women's Group A.
When's the broadcast start? Are we starting it now? Hello and welcome to the ANOC World Beach Games, the Association of National Olympic Committees. These are the first ever beach games. They're being held in Qatar. And here we are at Qatar Beach for the Kata version of karate. My name is Drew Lilly. I will be bringing you the action throughout the 2 days of individual kata. This is the demonstration version of karate, not the combat sport. This will be individual performances demonstrating the various kata, the various moves and positions. There are 32 competitors. We are seeing the bronze divided into 4 groups, and the top 4 of each group will go through. Going through into a second round, and then we will have the gold medal and bronze medal matches.
Representing United States of America, KWONG.
This is Group A.
Representing Hong Kong, China, Yee Tung.
8 athletes. This is a reasonably strong group. The main favourites will be Jessica KWONG, whom we've just seen. She's ranked number 19 in the world at the moment. And then Alexandrea ANACAN of New Zealand. She is the Oceania champion, 11th in the qualifying standings at the moment. Karate will be an Olympic sport next year in Tokyo. And there are 10 competitors in each event. 1 automatically from the host nation, obviously Japan. No Japanese representatives here at the beach games in karate. So they'll give a chance to some of the other nations. And then after that, there will be 4 places given out based on the Olympic rankings as of the 6th of April 2020. 3 more from a qualification tournament that will take place in Paris a month after that, the 8th to the 10th of May. And then finally, 2 based on continental representation. So if you haven't qualified by any of the other means possible, the standings or the qualification tournament, but you are number 1 in your continental confederation. For example, we've just seen Alexandrea ANACAN of New Zealand, then maybe she will get through. There will be 2 spots to make it up to 10 in the kata. 10 in the men's, 10 in the women's. We will have men's kata later on for you, but first of all, we're going to have the women's. And the first contestant is Valerya HERNANDEZ of Venezuela. She is ranked number 52 in the world. And that was the Anandai Kata being demonstrated by Valerya Hernandez. Each competitor has 5 minutes, no more, mustn't go over the timings. She remained within those 5 minutes. And then on each round, each competitor has to demonstrate a different type of kata, over 100 of them. So they have plenty of variety. Number 52 in the world, she'll be hoping to sneak through into the last four, the top four of this group. The judges have given her 23.02. It's a shame we're not seeing all of the judges' marks because there are 7 judges. The top 2 and the bottom 2 are taken out, so it's the 3 in the middle. And you are ranked out of 10. In between, there is 70% is for technical merit and 30% on athleticism.
Total points 23.2.
So that's the starter, and it was a good performance from Valerya Hernandez, almost averaging 8 from across the judges. I think you're going to need at least 8 to qualify. And here we have Ema Brazdova beginning her Papuren kata. She is 30th in the world. One of the favourites to qualify out of this group. Papuren kata means 8 steps at a time and was introduced by a white crane kung fu expert on the island of Okinawa. And a beautiful performance there from Ema Brazdova of the Papuren kata. So now the 7 judges will decide how her technical performance and her athletic performance matched up. Here she is waiting for those results. As I say, top 2, bottom 2 are marked off. And 21.74, so that puts her behind Valerya HERNANDEZ. Probably the lack of difficulty that brought her down there. So she's unlikely to qualify as things stand. Second out of 2. Shame for her, she's 30th in the world at the moment, and with a number of the Japanese competitors who are towards the top of the rankings. Not here, she would have been hoping at least to get through to the last 16, particularly in this group, where she's 4th out of 8 in terms of the rankings. But she's behind Valerya HERNANDEZ, who is number 52 in the world. Now, here we have Fatemeh SADEGHI of Iran, number 17 in the world. Again, doing the Papuren Kata, one of the 102 they can choose from. Let's see if she does the Papuren Kata better than Ema BRAZDOVA of Slovakia. That looked to be a very crisp performance from Fatemeh SADEGHI of the Islamic Republic of Iran. It's actually very difficult for the competitors to perform the kata crisply when you're on sand. The area has been raked a couple of times already, even though we're only 3 competitors in. But she did incredibly well there, 24.4, and that puts her in the lead, averaging over 8 out of 10. You could hear the crispness of movement from Fatemeh SADEGHI as out they come to rake once again. It is very difficult. It obviously gets churned up far more than tennis, should we say, for example. But that was a very good, very crisp performance from Fatemeh SADEGHI. You can hear the crisp movements of her karate-gi, the white robe that the competitors wear. Next up is Patricia ESPARTEIRO, 31st in the world. She's from Portugal, and she will be performing the Anandai, which is what Valerya HERNANDEZ performed first up. And there she's announced it. Anandai was made famous in the 1980s by Tsugu Sakamoto, a school teacher in Okinawa. Very athletic and energetic performance there from Patricia ESPARTEIRO. So we wait for the judges, and she waits for the judges. Hot conditions here on the beach. It's only 8 in the morning, but it's 32 degrees already, and there's plenty of humidity. 22.68. That squeezes her ahead of Ema BRAZDOVA. She's 3rd out of 4 at the moment.
Total points 22.68.
So averaging around 7.5. It's the 24 and above that's going to get you qualification. Might be able to squeeze through with a few 23s in this particular group. No one in the top 10 in the world in this group. The highest ranked performer we haven't seen yet, that's Alexandrea ANACAN. Fatemeh SADEGHI, 17th in the world. She currently leads. Next up is Hilary AKELE of Cameroon. She's 69 in the world, so she's the outsider of this particular group of 8, of which 4 will go through to the next round. She's performing the onsu. She has just shouted. It's quite a gamble here from the outsider, Hilary AKELE. Onsu, which means cloud hands, quite literally, is the most advanced kata in the Shotokan and Shito-ryu styles. A lot of intricate hand movement, so that's what we've got to be looking for here. Good display from Akele. As I say, she went for a complex kata, the unsu. There's a bit of a gamble. There's a fair bit of athleticism to begin with in her performance. Perhaps tired a little towards the end, but that's, as I say, it's very hot here and you're churning up the sand while you're doing it. And yes, that's been reflected, 20.4, so that means she is out of the running for qualification. Currently 5th out of 5.
Total points,
Technical performance, it was a very difficult one that she went for and showed good athleticism to begin with. Just, as we're seeing here, just perhaps the crispness of the hand movements that let her down. But good for her for trying something more complex. A gamble that didn't pay off. Now, next up, number 19 in the world, Jessica KWONG from USA, performing the ANAN. Listed at 5'2", but she looks taller than me, 108 pounds. It's around 49 kilos. Lives in Torrance, California. She's a 6-time US junior team member. Very young athlete, started karate at the age of 5. Getting good applause from the crowd. Will she get it from the judges? She ideally needs to be around the 23, and 24.54 sneaks her into the lead, just ahead of Fatemeh SADEGHI.
Total points, 24.54.
As is her coach. She leaves, or we can't call it the mat, as she leaves the sand. 7 meters by 7 meters. Furiously right. Here we see the very sharp hand movements that she came out in with that. She came out with in that ANAN Kata. Has just seen her edge into the lead ahead of Fatemeh SADEGHI. So KWONG and SADEGHI are sure of qualification. We have Yee Tung coming up now of Hong Kong, another outsider, number 65 in the world. Anandai for her again. You can see the sweat on the back of Tung. Very hot conditions here. Tough for the competitors as she brings her Anandai to the end. She finished 19th recently in Premier League event in Shanghai. So as an outsider to make it through to the second round here. Ideally, with Alexandrea ANACAN still to come, she's going to have to edge out Valerya HERNANDEZ on 23.02. I think that's unlikely. 22.98. She was so close. So close. So that puts her in 4th. But with the Oceania champion and 11th in the world still to come. So she's the one on the cusp.
Total points.
Tung Yee.
22.98.
Great performance from her. Is she going to come up 0.4 points short? That would be agonizing. She's not expected to be in amongst the medals, but it would have been quite a fillip for her and her career to get through to the second round. But now, if that is to be the case, she's relying on a poor performance from Alexandrea ANACAN, the Oceanian champion from New Zealand, 11th in the Olympic standings at the moment. Once again, we will see the Papuren. We've had plenty of Anand and Anandais on Unsu. This is the third Papuren we will see in the opening round from the Oceania champion. Papuren! ANACAN is also an instructor. She's the youngest instructor at the main karate school in New Zealand. You'll be wondering why her name doesn't sound very Kiwi. She's actually from Philippines. Family moved to New Zealand after she'd already taken up karate. Plenty of New Zealand competition. She came second in the Commonwealth Games in Montreal in 2013. Third in the World University Games in Montenegro. Fifth in the World Games in Taiwan back in 2010. Beautiful performance of the Papuren, with the crane-like hand movements. The judges are now deciding whether that is enough to get her through to the second round. Surely it will be. 23.88. Well, it was not quite the dominant performance you would have expected from
23.88
from the number 11 in the world and top of her group, but it's enough to get her through. That means that just missing out is Yee Tung. To the top four, Jessica KWONG of the USA, Fatemeh SADEGHI of Iran, Alexandrea ANACAN of New Zealand, and then Valerya HERNANDEZ sneaks through in fourth. Valerya HERNANDEZ on 23.02, just edging out Tung Yee of Hong Kong. So not the greatest of performances there from ANACAN, the Oceania champion. She perhaps didn't perform the movements as crisply as possible. It's a difficult one to perform crane-like movements there in
United States of America.
On the sand. So those who made it through
Republic of
the next
Iran.
round: Jessica KWONG,
New
Fatemeh
Zealand.
SADEGHI, Alexandrea ANACAN,
Venezuela.
and then Valerya HERNANDEZ. Those to the floor who've made it through. Watching Tung Yee. Disappointment, 0.4 points was all she required to get through. So we have our first four through to the second round. Four groups of 8 to whittle the competition down from 32 to 16. And then in the second round, we'll get it down to the finalists and those vying for bronze medal. There's a gold, a silver and 2 bronzes to be given out, as is always the way in combat sports. Not that this is combat this time around, it's the performance version of karate. We don't have the kumite here. That would be difficult on a beach.